Hello, my friends. Welcome to the season 2 kickoff of Wild Hearts at Work. I am your host, Melissa Boggs, and I am so happy to be back here with you and so much good stuff coming up in this season. So, for this kickoff episode, I wanted to just take a few minutes and kind of touch base with you. So, how are you doing? How is your holiday? Are you back in the swing of things after taking what I hope was a really good break? For me, it was a wonderful break. I actually took off a good solid 3 weeks, which I don't think I've ever done that in my professional career ever. So it was well needed. With the pandemic, I think we have all experienced some level of burnout. And while just taking a vacation isn't the cure to burnout, it certainly did help refresh me and get me excited for this new year. So, this episode is going to air with our season 2 kickoff on February 15th. Wanted to talk a little bit about things I had learned from season 1 and then give you a little sneak peek to season 2. So, over the break, I was really ruminating on just the first 19 episodes of this podcast. And first things first, I actually didn't start out the podcast intending to do seasons. So this was first learning. I actually thought that I would just consistently do episodes and, do them all year and maybe take a break if every now and then I needed it. But actually, it turns out that we all need breaks. And I tell people that all the time. And this was a case of having to drink my own champagne. And so it was really nice to kind of get to a good place with season 1 and wrap it up right before the holidays and really take a solid break with no recording, no editing, no publishing, no writing show notes. As much as I love all of that stuff, I think we all need to take a break. And so from now on, learning number 1 is I'm going to work in seasons for this podcast. So kicking off season 2 here in February, and we'll probably go about 19 or 20 episodes, which will take us up to summertime. Lots of travel, lots of COVID willing, of course. Lots of things going on in the summer. So I'll likely take the summer off and then kick off a new season in the fall and kind of operate on this maybe 3 seasons per year operating pattern. At least that's what it looks like right now. Other things that I learned in season 1, I learned a lot of podcast stuff. So you probably know this, but I was not a podcaster before. So I learned a lot about equipment, microphones, headsets, headphones, all the different software that's necessary in order to record, post production, get it up on, the streaming services. There's a lot involved, and it was also a lot more fun than I expected to learn all that technical stuff about podcasting. I have to give a shout out to my husband, Wendell Boggs, because right about the same time that I was whipping up the podcast, he was learning a lot of audio production stuff for his voiceover work. And so I have him to thank for doing all of my post-production editing and polishing. He has done all of that for me. So shout out to my husband because I didn't want to hear my voice back for every episode. So thanks to Wendell for that. And then I also learned that there's this huge podcasting community. I've been pretty insulated to the Agile community for, I don't know, 12, 13 years now. And it's really cool to see these communities that pop up and rally around almost anything. And so podcasting is no exception. There have been some incredible people that have supported me and taught me things and given me advice and cheered me on and, promoted the podcast. And so I'm forever grateful for that. And on a similar vein, I made a joke on Twitter the other day that I didn't count on wanting to be best friends with every one of my guests. But when you have a podcast like mine that is sort of a passion project and a bit niche, everyone who comes on my podcast has similar values and philosophies and principles, and I just want to invite them all to a barbecue. So, huge thanks to all of my guests in season 1 and the ones that I've already had a chance to talk to for season 2. You are all my besties. Also related to that, we're just going to keep going on this train of related topics. One of the things I learned is how to find the right guests for the podcast and how to say no to a lot of people who clearly didn't read the podcast description. And I don't mean that in a negative way. People are just, pitching themselves and wanting to have conversations and get exposure. But I've learned to be quite picky about who I bring onto the show because I have a mission here. The mission is to challenge the status quo, to give you practical advice on, how to do that, how to stand up for what you believe in at work, how to find the right place for you, and, a lot of other things that challenge the status quo, like thinking about intuition or thinking about empathy at work. These things are not always normal. And so I, had to learn to be really picky and how to say no to things that maybe that's going to fit. Nope. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. But I've had some really cool hell yeses that kind of took me by surprise. Lastly, I learned a lot about myself, about my energy level, the idea that I needed to take a break and that was okay. And my ability to talk to complete strangers and ask them questions and improvise. And yeah, I learned quite a bit there. And I learned a lot from my guests. Some of my favorite topics, all of them were my favorite, but some of the ones that stand out from season 1 was talking about play at work, talking about intuition, storytelling, and gratitude. These are not subjects that our parents or our grandparents were talking about at work. And so I'm so grateful to have a platform and to have the opportunity to meet some of these incredible people and bring these conversations to you. Because for some of them, I didn't even know that those conversations were out there in the world. So it's pretty cool that they are. So coming up in season 2, again, I think we'll be looking at about 18 to 20 episodes, taking us right up until summertime. I've got some really cool guests that I've already interviewed and others that are lined up, talking about agency, talking about authenticity, talking about different ways that, for instance, a consulting firm is working differently. We're definitely going to do 1 or 2 book club episodes, and I'll definitely have 1 or 2 solo episodes where I rant or rave about something. I've got a list of topics that either are stuck in my craw or that I'm just so excited to see showing up in the world. And then I'm excited to bring together at least 1 episode, if not maybe a couple more, of previous guests coming together in a panel. So we might have, say, 2 or 3 guests that were already on the show, but we're going to bring them together, bring them a topic, and we're just going to chit chat about that topic. Complete strangers. It's like The Real World from MTV, but on my podcast. I crack myself up. So that said, I want to finish up this kickoff episode with just a major, major thank you. I had no idea what I was getting into when I recorded my initial 8-minute trailer for season 1. I had no idea how impactful this was going to be to me, the people that I was going to meet. I had no idea if I was going to fall flat on my face, if I was going to have 5 listeners or 5,000. And what I've come to learn is that the number of listeners doesn't matter. It's the impact that we're making, because one listener affects someone else. So we're just planting seeds. That's what we're doing. And so thank you for being on this ride for me. Thank you for continuing to tune in each week. Please tell your friends. I would love to, impact more people. Please let me know if there are guests you think would be really good fits for the show. And yeah, this has just been a really cool experience, and I'm glad that it's only just begun. With that, along with this kickoff episode and season 2 kicking off today, I would be remiss if I didn't share that also releasing today is my website, melissaboggs.com, the improved version. And I'm here if your organization or your conference is interested in challenging the status quo. If you want to create intentional employee experiences through keynote talks, workshops, one-on-one coaching, there's all kinds of things that I offer that will be on the website. If you want to take your org to the next level, given the state of the world, I think there's a lot that's going to have to change. And I'm really passionate about creating awesome, awesome workplaces because I've been so lucky to be part of some. So with that, my friends, thank you again for joining me. I'm looking forward to an incredible season 2. I love you all so much. And until next time, dear hearts, say it with me, stay wild.